I cannot enter. It's locked.
Over there! There's one of them vermin! You're feeble! Gotcha! Your prey is mine!
Good evening, sir. It's me again.
Leave me alone, I say, whoever you are.
It cannot be safe for a blind man to live here alone. Let me enter, sir. I swear I mean you no harm.
Well, a voice never lies, and yours clearly is the voice of a gentleman. All right, Doctor, come on in. Tell me, how do you see the world these days? What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour?
It's locked.
Tell me, how do you see the world these days? So what is the name of my nocturnal visitor?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. As I already explained to you, I'm inquiring about the epidemic.
Dr. Reed? The eminent surgeon? My God, I'd never have expected a brilliant physician like you to knock on my door.
You flatter me, sir.
No, sir, I am flattered. I read all your work when I still had my sight. I loved it. I'm Mason Swanborough, by the way.
And what else have you learned about me, Mr. Swanborough?
I know you assisted Professor Carrel in France, and that you invented a new blood transfusion method based on his work.
Yes. Those were frustrating but exciting days. I loved it.
Yes, the thrill of research and discovery. This is what drives people like us, Dr. Reed. Oh, how I envy you.
Does someone take care of you in this isolated place?
My sister Loretta and I have our daily routine. Every morning and evening she comes by so we can talk and eat. Then she leaves and I stay.
Do you not appreciate your sister's visits?
Loretta is the best and worst thing that happened to me, and I believe she could say the same thing about me.
Where does your sister go?
Well, let's just say, she earns enough money for us both.
What's so amusing about that?
I won't hide the truth from you. Loretta sells a fake miracle elixir to the sick people of Whitechapel.
Why does your sister feel so guilty about what happened to you?
Because she knows I'll never forgive what she did to me.
You run an illegal business with someone you hate?
I don't hate my sister. She looks after me, we have a good time. But I'm just not ready to forgive her.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
I hear them hissing and scratching at my door every night. The sick made mad by the fever. But these walls are thick, and my lock is solid.
Do you know Braille, Mr. Swanborough?
I'm no expert, but I learned it in my spare time, yes. Why?
I found a strange document entitled Cure for Blindness. It's written in Braille, so I thought perhaps it was yours.
Really? Is that some kind of sick joke? Let me see.
Here it is.
This letter seems authentic. And it actually refers to an experimental cure for blindness. You have piqued my interest, Dr. Reed.
Could it be of any use to you?
No. This page is just a part of a larger diary. I'd be glad if you could find the other pages.
I found another page of the diary, Mr. Swanborough.
This diary is still not complete. The man who wrote it claims he is a member of some scholarly brotherhood called the St. Paul's Stole.
Really? I've heard of them. Very capable scientists. Perhaps the man who wrote this really found a cure.
I would need more pages to figure it out, but it's as promising as it is intriguing.
Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough. I'll leave you now.
What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour? What can I do?
You seem unwell, sir. Do you need my assistance?
Actually, I feel worse than usual. Can you give me something?
Yes. I can give you a little something that has been proven effective.
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye.
Tell me, how do you see the world these days?
This is my territory!
Good evening, Doc.
How are conditions in Whitechapel at the moment?
I always thought it was my role to reveal what really happens in these forgotten parts of London.
And you're not sure anymore?
Emptied coffins, cannibalism, walking dead. I'm trying to report the truth about what's going on, but no one believes it anymore.
Goodbye,
You look so pale, my lord.
Good evening, Chris.
Change your...
How are the conditions in White...
When I think about all the people who died trying to reach England, it seems we escaped a war just to die on foreign shores, hated by all.
Goodbye.
Joe, please, I don't have your money.
Come. You again?
How is the sanitary?
I'm not easily scared, but crazy killers and armed patrols are lurking about. My son's right about this place.
Can I offer you?
Keep your medicines for others.
There is a thin line between pride and stupidity, sir. Please take this medication. You'll feel better.
All right. I'll take it then. It's not like I don't appreciate the gesture.
Goodbye, Mr. Peter.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose... How are the current conditions in Whitechapel?
When there's more people outside at night than during the day, then you've got to start to worry.
Right then.
Would you like me to revive you?
Good evening.
It's Father Whitaker, my son.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
Don't you hear the trumpets? The apocalypse is upon us, Dr. Reed. The final battle.
Don't you fear getting sick yourself?
Faith gives me all I need, my son. If I must fall, then so be it.
No doubt your faith will prevail, but let me give you some extra protection against the devil's work. Medicine.
Blessed be your generosity, my son.
I have...
Fancy buying?
You never... Do you need...
To be honest, I'd prefer you take a look at my stuff. I'd rather be rich and sick than the contrary.
I don't quite agree, but I won't argue with you. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Really? Free? Don't take it personally, but charity usually comes at a price. Human nature being what it is.
Goodbye for now.
Distribute flowers to this.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
You are blinded by your false faith.
Good evening.
And good evening to you.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
I imagine we are all part of some nightmare without beginning nor ending. If only the dreamer could awake.
Do you need medical attention?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
I'll leave you alone. Good evening, Christian.
Change.
Good.
Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Baron.
Mr.
Evening.
How are conditions?
The way this sickness is spreading, I don't think there'll be enough new bloods to replace those tenants I'm losing from this bloody thing.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
Science fails you. This elixir will give you faith
Good
again.
evening.
Loretta, your miraculous formula wouldn't even cure a common cold, and you know it.
The Swanborough's cordial secret ingredient is hope, Doctor. And it's something people around here really need.
A placebo effect is real and has benefit. But in your case, you could be murdering your customers, who may die because they are not receiving the necessary medical attention.
Medical attention? In Whitechapel? Trust me, my cordial is the best option they have, since it is the only one.
If your true purpose was to help, you wouldn't take money from the poor for your snake oil.
Oh, but to pay for it is part of the process, Doctor. If it were free, they wouldn't believe in it.
Loretta, why do you feel so guilty about your brother?
I don't expect him to forgive me. All I can do is make amends for what I did.
By making him a crook and a criminal. What if somebody decides to make him pay for your scam?
Mason is totally capable of defending himself. Just leave us be. We're perfectly fine.
don't you think he needs to be somewhere he can receive appropriate medical care?
Mason wants to be useful, can you understand that? And chemistry is his passion, and the Swanborough cordial gives him a purpose in life.
I'd like to... Good evening.
Sure.
How is the sanitary?
Terrible, to say the least. Maybe now you understand the importance of Dorothea's work here. But you never cared, did you?
That's quite an accusation.
Stop pretending, Mr. Doctor. All you wanted was to confront Dorothea. You never intended to help Whitechapel's people.
There isn't just one way to help Whitechapel.
Your way seems to attract sorrow and despair, Mr. Doctor. Your kind of care is not what Whitechapel needs.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm on...
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening, Sha.
Wang Shanghao, Dr. Reed. It's good to see you again.
How is the sanitary?
My only relief is that my Matthew died before seeing the madness that approaches. I'm afraid we won't survive this trial, Dr. Reed.
What are you doing with your time, now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to help the poor and sick of the neighborhood by handing out medicine.
That's very charitable of you. But why do it at night?
I've noticed that the most desperate people tend to go out after dark. Hence my presence, to help them when I can.
Giving out medicine? How can you afford to do that?
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last the rest of my life. I can spend some on those who don't have any.
Why don't you move to a better neighborhood?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here, then?
I am a woman of habit, Dr. Reed. And for now, I am happier being useful in a familiar place than I would be anywhere else.
How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to follow your advice, sir. I won't forget the dead, but my efforts will be for the living.
I've no doubt. That is a wise and useful attitude in this part of town.
To be completely honest with you, I am also doing this for myself. If I'm destined to survive this epidemic, I need my life to have some purpose.
Do you still think about your departed husband?
Of course I do. I'll never forget my beloved Matthew, but how do I put it? Now I miss him more than I want him back.
I know what you mean. And I think it means you're getting better.
Maybe death will take me the way it took Matthew. Without warning and without mercy. But until then, I live on.
Goodbye for now.
Dorothea, I'm so sorry.
Most of them don't speak English.
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top! You're feeble! This is my territory!
Good evening, Mr. Swanborough.
Is it you, Dr. Reed? What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour? What can I do?
Your sister seems to believe this miracle elixir business is somehow doing you good.
Loretta believes that keeping busy is what I need to be happy.
And is she wrong?
My sister is wrong about almost everything. But as long as she thinks she's in charge, she can be nice.
I hear them.
Goodbye, Mr.
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool.
It's locked, all right.
What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour? Tell me, how do you see the world these days?
Good evening, Mr.
Is it you? What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour?